Happy 1 week anniversary to my new vlog series for 2024, Cars and Chaos. And today on day 7, we are going to finish wrapping up the BMW i8 front end. I don't really want to call it a repair, but that's pretty much what it is. Anyway, let's get started. Just a quick recap of what exactly happened to the i8 for those of you that are new here or maybe didn't know the story. This is the BMW i8 that a lot of people saw on Daily Driven Exotics on what has now been deemed the Fyre Rally. And if you watched along in those episodes, you saw probably a majority of the damage that happened to this car. Now that it's home and I got everything in for the car, we are putting a new front end on it so I can return it to its proper owner and he can get the car wrapped. A lot of people didn't believe that the front bumper had enough damage that it needed to get replaced, but now that it's off, you can really see exactly how much damage there was. This had been plastic welded before, and that car itself is actually a rebuilt title, so it had already been damaged. You can see here where it's got the mesh from a previous plastic welding, where we drilled holes into the side to keep the bumper together, and just the general damage that happened to it. So it made more sense at that point to go ahead and get a new, slightly less damaged front bumper. Last night I stayed up and got just a little bit of work done on this front bumper, and I will drop that here. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is remove all of this PPF because I'm going to have to sand, body fill, plastic weld, and paint, well, at least prime this part. So removing the PPF looks like it isn't that old, so luckily it's coming off pretty well. All right. Now that the PPF is off, the next thing we need to do is go ahead and pull this dent. I'm going to heat it up with the heat gun and try and push on it from behind because this is a plastic bumper. And then maybe, depending on how severe the damage to the PPF is, remove the rest of the PPF. But we'll see. So I decided to only remove the PPF on places where I needed to sand and really had to. And you can see here, when I pulled the PPF off, it actually pulled the paint off underneath, which is why it's super important to A, paint prep correctly so that your paint adheres to the surface properly, and B, wait the appropriate amount of time after you paint the front bumper or any piece before you PPF, or you risk pulling it off with your paint. So that's awesome. After that, I went ahead and pulled out all 4 of the front sensors and the front grille, which was super easy. It was just this little torque spit back here behind, and these come out from underneath. Swap them out, and pretty easy. It took me about 30 minutes only because I missed a screw behind the panel and had to take it out and redo it. At that point, it was 3 a.m. because I had procrastinated so hard on not wanting to work on this, honestly. So now today is the last day that I have to finish it before we take the car to the wrap shop. I'm also going to call myself out on one major mistake that I made, thinking that I needed to replace sand and fix this issue right here when I didn't. I pulled the PPF off last night and then realized I did not need to do that, and I caused myself way more of a headache in doing so because now I have to fix all of this, which I originally didn't need to pull the PPF off. I don't really have an excuse for that. I'm just stupid. I'm not sure if the camera picks up on this, but right here you can see that there's a pretty big, like 2.5-inch dent right there. That is the only thing we're going to fix before we put this back on the car. And once it's on the car, we're going to go in, deal with all of this and this plastic welding, prime, and get it to the wrap shop tomorrow. Alrighty, now I got the new front bumper mostly on. It's not bolted in yet. I'm going to have to custom fab some little plastic panels until they come in the mail, but overall a pretty big improvement from the last one. Alrighty, now I got the new front bumper mostly on. It's not bolted in yet. I'm going to have to custom fab some little plastic panels until they come in the mail, but overall a pretty big improvement from the last one. So this is the part I'm trying to replicate until the right passenger side comes in the mail. I'm actually just using the top of a plastic bin, and I'm using a plastic welder to open up the holes that I need for the body panel tabs, and I'm just going to hot glue this into place, which is temporary, so I can remove it and use these tabs when the parts come in, but hopefully I'll get it, you know, at least decently fabricated. Okay, it's ghetto, but here's how the panel turned out, and it actually works pretty well. And there you have it. See you guys tomorrow.